So you got to do that, and then you went from there, and then what was next for you?
After then, I went to Disney, and then my first job there was.
So what you wanted?
Yeah, that is what I wanted. Yeah, I worked on. I went over there as a story artist on Hunchback of Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worked on Hunchback of Notre Dame, Mulan, Hercules, and Tarzan, and then from there I went to DreamWorks. And I was there for 15, 16 years.
Wow. And so when you went to Disney, so I'm assuming, and again, I could be totally wrong, but your pay, each time you're moving, are you going up in pay?
Yeah.
You're getting, you're going up in ranks and up in pay. Mm-hmm. So you went now to Disney. What did they pay you?
Back then, what was I making back then? There's a union out there. It's a cartoonist union, mm-hmm. and there's union minimums for what they'll pay. And I think at the time it was like $1,200 a week, I think, is what their minimum was. I don't remember what I was making.
But whatever it was, you were at the minimum.
Yeah,
but the minimum
it was
for
so
you
much more
was
than I
that.
expected. I didn't care because I lived in an apartment. I'm a young guy. I was and I was doing what I love to do, so it didn't really matter. Yeah. And it pays well.
Yes.
It pays enough that you can get by, and and they have a pension plan. And it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when you're in your 20s, you don't know what a pension plan is. You don't care.
Sure.
You're not thinking of the future.
Yeah. Well, okay, so like Tarzan, like probably the vast majority of people who are watching this have seen like a Tarzan or Mulan. Like Mulan, I love Mulan.
Yeah,
like,
Mulan's great.
I loved it. So, what parts did you do in, like, let's say Mulan? Like, what was it what did you contribute to that?
Well, my contribution, we work in story, we do iterations mm-hmm. of a show, which we'll do storyboards where we'll do a series of drawings, which act as a blueprint, as I said, and then they'll do temporary dialogue, temp music, and you watch it like a giant slideshow. Mm-hmm. And then you analyze it, what's working, what isn't working. The second act is kind of slow. Mm-hmm. I don't like this character, the ending sucks, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And you take it down and you remake it. And you do this quite a few times until you get the final product. And really what happens, like everything, you run out of time. Mm-hmm. That's what actually ends up being what you see on the film. But in that, so Mulan, I was working on Tarzan, and Tarzan, the directors and producers went to Africa on a mm-hmm. research trip, mm-hmm. and so they loaned me out for 3 weeks. I wasn't on Mulan for very long.
Okay.
Yeah, so I helped out on an earlier version of the introduction of the villain, and then that evolved over time. So but it was an earlier version that I had contributed to.
Okay, fine. So Mulan was somewhat minor compared to Tarzan. So in Tarzan, what was your contribution in Tarzan?
On Tarzan, I did most of the action sequences. I did. Me and another guy named Kevin Harkey. He also did. He did the baboon chase, which was great at the beginning, and the baby Tarzan. I killed the leopard. Yeah. And what else did I do? And I did some alternate kind of endings, which they change, And I think and so. I don't know.
Is this stuff confidential, like alternate endings?
No.
Is that like so? Like,
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
In fact, Disney had released a DVD a while back, and it had the alternate ending on it, but it was in storyboards. And when you see the storyboards, it doesn't look. There's drawings, and sometimes they can get pretty sketchy and kind of not great looking. So and what they'll do is they'll test screen these things. They'll show these to an audience, and they're like, and they might cut it in with actual film because sections are getting done while you're still developing the whole story. So something, and they'll watch it and they'll be like, well, I don't like the part that's not in color. Well, yeah, back then we didn't do it in color. They're just sketches. Okay, what's the idea? What's the framework, which will become a movie? So, so that's
nice. I recently saw like one of these memes about Tarzan that he's swinging on the rope and he's holding this lady in both arms, and it shows like his butt crack.
I saw something about that.
And it was like he's holding the vine with his butt crack.
No, I think I saw that.
What's up with that?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing that. So
okay.
I saw the meme, but I was like, I thought that was kind of funny.
Fine. They're swinging. there must be mistakes. Like, what are some like bloopers that have come out? Or do they get fixed or?
They do. Yeah. And in fact, I was just having this conversation with someone just yesterday, which is kind of ironic because they were talking about how the subliminal messaging that is claimed that Disney puts out.
I've looked when I've seen someone, I've searched a video and I don't see them.
Yeah, they're not there.
I think they're not there. I think it's made up. Like there's so many accusations that people go on this, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, I'm gonna go find out. Yeah. And I'll play the movie. I'm like, it's not there. Well, this is totally made up.
Well,
why did people make up garbage and sling it? Like, I don't understand.
Well, actually, they didn't make it up because a lot of times that imagery will have been in there. So what'll happen, but it's not like the company is trying to promote this stuff.
Yeah.
What happened is some gag was put in by an artist. It was a prank. And because I was saying, there's 24 frames of film per second, right?
Yeah.
So if you slip a drawing in there, and then you're in dailies, which is where you're watching the whole thing. The directors and
the director will miss it.
Oh, absolutely. They're not going to see something that's one frame out of 24 frames. So it'll get in, and then someone would still frame it. Now, back when there was like DVD, or before DVD, this was before DVDs. This was when VHFs, and someone's actually going frame to frame, which is quite a task to find that stuff.
Wow.
But they would find these things, and then Disney, as soon as they would find out about it, they would correct it and put it back out. But that's why people believe there was like this subliminal messaging. It was a prank done by some random artist.
So the truth is, it's more like an Easter egg kind of sort of idea. Like a little hidden little prank in there, like, ha ha ha, some person who did this film, like, ha ha, I put the word dick in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Ha, ha, like, whatever.
Yeah, it's funny. He said, I didn't know if I could say. So I was like, oh, I'm freed up now. I can talk to.
It's crazy.
I know, it is pretty funny.
Okay, so they're actually true. Actually, in a way, there's no ones where like the line comes out and like it says sex or whatever. Someone puts that in. One drawing out of whatever, one picture, and it gets missed. Okay, and then someone fixes it later.
Yeah, as soon as
those were in there. Were you part of any of those?
I did not do any gags. That I'll ever tell you about.
Okay.
Yeah. There's several of them. There was one. I think there was. It was a picture, which I actually have the VHS. It was of the Little Mermaid, where you see in the background there's these spires and there's this palace, and there was a that someone had put in there. Well, when they discovered it, they took it off. And but it does exist. I have it. But
you didn't do that one.
No, I didn't. I didn't do it. But it was funny too. I also worked on a film called Over the Hedge, and Over the Hedge was a story about these little woodland animals that were like going over a hedge into a neighborhood in suburbia and like stealing hot dogs or whatever. And so I did a movie poster for it, or what the blueprint of what became a movie sketch. And it was this character. His name is RJ. It was voiced by Bruce Willis. And he has this fishing line, and he's fishing off of this. He's getting a hot dog off of a barbecue, and so it's on a full movie poster, right? So it was fine. So when they actually took that image and then they rendered it out in computer and stuff and made it as a poster, they condensed it to a DVD size things. Now when it gets it, it's like RJ's here, and there's this wiener right here. And the way it was a hot dog. Yeah. And it was so phallic. You're like, oh my God. We're all like going, are you serious? No one saw this. Really, no one saw this. And someone had to see that, but you got recalled.
Okay. Wow. So there's little gags in there all the time. Okay, cool.